guys, what's going on? Jebb here, and welcome to the Year in Review stream. We have been looking forward to this for the entirety of the year of 2021. There is less than 24 hours left in the year of 2021, and I don't know about you, but I can confidently say that this year has been the very best year of my entire life. I've been able to say that for the last 3 years, actually, and most of that has to do with the amazing things that this channel has done in my life and the purpose that it has given me to help you achieve financial freedom, hopefully, therefore, in your life. Guys, we are going to, in this stream, be running over a weekly overview of a multitude of different cryptocurrencies, and we're also going to be taking a look back so we can look forward at some of the major news stories that took place this year. We're talking about the Coinbase IPO, we're talking about Elon Musk, we're talking about El Salvador, and quite a bit more. It's going to be a great stream. We're going to have a great time with you guys, and then we're going to be back next week for the new year. And by the way, special announcement, even before I introduce my lovely co-host today, the first episode of something called Why Bitcoin will be coming out at 1 p.m. Eastern today. We have been working on this video for the last month. It is the first in a 6-part series, and you are going to be getting one every single Friday for the next 6 weeks, and I cannot wait for you to see it. We put a lot of work into it, guys. It's going to be great, and it's going to be some of the new kinds of content that you're going to see moving into the new year. But before we get started, I do first just want to introduce my good friend and the person who has really helped this company quite a lot this year, Tim. How you doing, Tim?
What's up, man? I am here. I'm excited. Last show of the week, last show of the year. It's been a good year.
It has.
It's been for myself personally, for this company, for you guys, for crypto. I'm excited about what 2022 holds, but I'm excited to first look back and see all the, sometimes we look at things in small time frames and think bearish or discouraging. But when you zoom out, you're like, holy crap, this was a great year. It's
been absolutely crazy, guys. We're looking back on some of the things that happened in the company. We're like, just give you a rundown. When we started the year, this channel had 62,000 subscribers. We're now at nearly 210,000. When we started this year, I had under 10,000 followers on Twitter. We're now at 45,000 followers on Twitter. When we started this year, we barely even knew how to run a company, and now we are growing and thriving and bringing you guys high-quality content, and I just can't wait to get into it. I'm so excited, but first, I have to introduce T-Shroom, who's actually running production today. How you doing, T-Shroom?
I'm doing great, having a great time, and not stressed at all about running production.
Smay is out. He's taking his New Year's Eve, and we wanted T-Shroom to get a little practice anyway, so he's over there running production. If you didn't know, he's our researcher, but he also does a little bit of production. He's the one that edits some videos and does a few things, and he also helped to write, was the main writer of Why Bitcoin, so you'll be seeing that here in a few hours. But we're also joined, as always, by Kelly. How you doing, Kelly?
Well, I'm doing excellent. As you can see here, I've got a lovely new accoutrement to my desk space here. This is known as the Hodil
Trophy.
I can't say I'm proud of it because I would rather that Bitcoin not be still sub 50K. But as you're going to see, we're going to go over, where we've come from this year on a lot of different coins. It's Bitcoin as well. We're going to dive into that. But there's still so many bullish fundamentals that are just building up that pressure to launch into the new year. So why don't we just jump into the stream and go over all these incredible details?
Heck yeah, guys.
I want to shout out some members because Smay's not here, but the show must go on with what we do. Yeah, Alexander Ignacio is in chat. He is almost every single day, but thank you so much. Leon the Dutch. Mike Markle. I'm going to do a couple extra because, this is the last show of the year. Let's see who else we got in chat. Crypto Alchemist is in chat.
Let's go, Crypto Alchemist.
The Bitcoinologist is in chat. Agent Gold is in chat. Let's see here. Any more? And I know others will join, but thank you guys so much for joining our membership. Thomas Post is in chat. Thank you so much for...
TA Tim is in chat. And Kelly Kellum's in chat.
Oh, my goodness.
How are they? You know what people used to always ask me whenever we were live? They're like, how is Jebb live streaming and talking and chatting at the same time? And I'm like, bro, it's because it's a premiere. It's not actually live back when we used to do afternoon videos and premiere them. But guys, before we even get started here, make sure to hit that like button for the last stream of the year. It really helps us to rank in the YouTube algorithm. And whenever we rank in the YouTube algorithm, it helps this channel to grow and flourish so that we can bring you higher quality educational content. I'm going to go ahead and tease some of the headlines we're going to be talking about here in a second. Like I said, we're looking at a ton of the Miami coin. We're looking at Coinbase IPO, Elon Musk, China banning Bitcoin for the question mark time. They've done it many times. El Salvador, FTX, Crypto.com, non-spot ETF adoption. We're going to be talking a little bit, just briefly, about the Bitcoin futures ETF that we saw earlier this year, and NFT mania, because if you didn't didn't know, trading volume on NFT rallied 2,000% from about $100 million in January to $2 billion on average in the last 4 months. NFTs are here to stay, and we're going to be doing a recap on all that. But, of course, you're also going to be getting your daily dose of technical analysis, not of internet, daily dose of technical analysis on your favorite projects. But give me just a second to pull it up here, T-Shroom, and then we're going to jump on over to CoinMarketCap. Let's take a look at my screen now. Bitcoin right now is trading at $48,000. It is up 1.5% over the last 24 hours, and I think that's going to continue, to be honest with you. I'm not totally convinced that the bottom is in just yet, but one of the things I am happy about is that as we're moving into the new year, tax loss harvesting is going to stop in about 15 hours. If you don't know what tax loss harvesting is, make sure to go and watch the video we did with our CPA, Lorenzo. We talked about what that is. It's a way to legally reduce your tax burden. And by the way, if you want to get a consultation with him, free shout out to him. There's a link for him in the description box down below. We do use his services, and I think you should too. Ethereum is currently trading at $3,800. It's up 2%. Binance Coin is up 0.25%, and Tether is up 0.25% too. So that means people are probably selling into the stablecoin just a little bit. Solana right now is sitting right around, or excuse me, buying the stablecoins. Yes. So Solana is up around 1%. Cardano is up around 1%. Pretty stable day. Terra Luna is up about 5%. Top 10 isn't doing a whole lot, but the rest of the cryptocurrency market is. Arweave is up 12%. Aave up 11%. Aave has been one of the biggest projects of this year, guys. That project has had a massive amount of hype. It's built one of the major actual commercially viable use cases for blockchain technology. Very big fan of Aave. I don't personally hold any of it. I don't personally use it, but I have heard many good things about it. Celsius and Cosmos up 10% as well, and I think both of them deserve that. IOTA, Internet of Things application down 3%. Icon down 1.92%. People get on to me when I call these two dead projects. I'm sorry, but they're dead projects as far as the price is concerned. They might be working with good technology. I'm pretty sure IOTA's Tangle Network is doing literally nothing anymore. Icon's apparently doing some fundamental updates. Neither one of them are the darling childs of the cryptocurrency space like they used to be, and so they've fallen out of favor. PancakeSwap's down 1.25%, but nothing to be worried about just there. But like I said, we're going to be covering a ton of different cryptocurrencies today. We're going to start with a weekly chart view of Bitcoin and take a look back so we can look forward into the new year. And then we're going to come back and do our actual normal daily technical analysis on Bitcoin here in just a little bit. But for the next few minutes, I want to dive into 5 altcoins, 5 cryptocurrencies, one of them being Bitcoin, and talk about what this year has brought. And I'm going to bring in our co-host and we're going to talk about it a little bit. We're going to start off with Bitcoin. I want to use these segments to start off by looking at where Bitcoin was at the beginning of the year and then looking at where it is now so that we can gain perspective. It is incredibly important that we have perspective in cryptocurrency markets so that we know what the market is going to do, and also so that we don't build false assumptions or false hopes or anything of that sort. At the beginning of this year, Bitcoin was trading at roughly $33,000. It had just broken an all-time high of $20,000 in November of last year. About 13 months ago, Bitcoin broke $20,000. For 3 years, about 2.5 years, it had stayed below that level. So that's the first piece of perspective I want to instill in you. Bitcoin trading at $48,000 right now may seem like a very sad low for Bitcoin, but it's over double the all-time high that Bitcoin broke just 12 months ago today. It's very, very rare that you will ever see that kind of return in any other market. I don't care if you're talking about real estate, Forex, precious metals, or stocks. You're not going to find that anywhere else, but you will find it in crypto because, as we're going to talk about later, we're in about 1997 of the internet adoption. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about, stay tuned because we're going to get to that. But as the year went on, Q1 brought about another 100% return. We rallied from 34% all the way up to 65%, $34,000 all the way up to $65,000 in the span of just a few months, setting a new all-time high at 65K and proving that cryptocurrency can be a $3 trillion market, which, by the way, was another big news story of the year. At one point, crypto did have a $3 trillion market capitalization, or just about, back in November. And then around that time, whenever Bitcoin hit 65K for the first time, we saw $2.5 trillion of market cap. That is a massive deal, guys. That is not an insignificant amount of money. That is not a market that is going to be regulated into oblivion. That is not a market that's going to disappear tomorrow. That is not a market that has no future. That is a volatile market. That is a market that you can lose money in if you're not careful, but it also brings about massive opportunities, and people have realized those this year. So Bitcoin rallied to $65,000, underwent a major correction where most people thought that the market was over, Bitcoin was going to die, and Bitcoin was going to go into a bear market for the next couple of years. And we told you guys, look, Bitcoin might go down to 22, 23, 24,000. We don't think that's going to happen, but it's possible. But we also said that $30,000 is very strong support. Bitcoin bounced off of there. And during this time, this is when we moved into the new office. This is when we added a bunch of new team members to our team, Kelly and T. Shroom being two examples, the two people sitting in this room with me right now. And we really came into our own on this show during this rally right here and brought you guys some great content. From there, Bitcoin has been in a downtrend for the last month and a half, and I personally think that it is going to bounce and rally up to $100,000 in the next 6 months. That's what reflection is, but looking forward, I do think we're going to see a six-figure Bitcoin within the next 6 months, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. As I said, we're going to come back to Bitcoin, but before I do, Tim, is there anything that you would like people to remember this year on the Bitcoin price action chart?
Man, I mean, there's so much. Like I said, I talked about this a little bit yesterday. This was my first year and some change. So again, I got into Bitcoin in August of 2020. So, you know, I'm still learning a lot, but the explosiveness of momentum and hype is something I think people are going to look back and remember this. 2021 was the year of the Elon Musk fiasco. Not only did he pump Bitcoin like crazy, he then made it crash like crazy. So it was a year to learn, like, hey, we need to not make idols in Bitcoin. You know, we need to not make these godhead figures who we just, if they speak or they say anything, we move on it. I think that's something really big from this last year to remember. The other thing to pick up is, holy cow, like, over this year, I learned TA. TA is awesome. It is not the end-all, be-all. It's not like if you know TA and nothing else, you'll make money. But, like, gosh, if you know what you're looking at with these projects and you're paying attention to the news and you're looking at those charts, you're going to be almost an unstoppable force in your investment and trading portfolios.
Absolutely. Well, let's do some macro analysis here on Ethereum also. We're going to keep moving here, guys. We have a lot of projects to look. I think we have 11 cryptocurrencies we're going to look at today, 2 of them twice. So let's keep going. Ethereum had a very strong year. If you'll remember to March of last year, Ethereum dropped all the way down to, say it with me, $90. Ethereum was trading at $90 less than 2 years ago. It actually went for buying and selling at $90. Ever since then, Ethereum, even to this drop right now, is up over 4,000%. I actually accumulated the most Ethereum that I ever have right here around $200, and I still am holding a lot of it. I'm very glad for that because I had the foresight to look forward and say, hey, Bitcoin and crypto is going to do very well, and Ethereum is going to lead that charge. Whenever you invest in something, a lot of people think that it's going to come in a month or 2 months or 3 months, and that's not the case. It takes time, and there's nothing wrong with that. Ethereum and Bitcoin have done very well this year, and I think next year some of these altcoins are going to do remarkably well as well. I do think that within the next few years we're going to see a $10 trillion market capitalization for Bitcoin and crypto. But let's take a look at the year here. What Ethereum did was very interesting. It rallied hard moving into the new year. Right around the time the new year came around, Ethereum was trading between $700 and $1,000. Within a week, we rallied from $700 to $1,000. And then moving into the new year, after we hit $1,000, we rallied all the way up to $4,300, adding, let me see, $350 billion in market capitalization over the same period of time, except extrapolate into the future. So over the last year, Ethereum has also added nearly $250 million in value locked on top of its DeFi platforms that are layer 2 on top of Ethereum. It's also added probably a cumulative total of about $300 billion in market capitalization worth of layer 2 protocol. Maybe not that much, maybe about $150 billion worth of layer 2 protocols. So this network, I would say, takes the crown for the most developed cryptocurrency protocol and decentralized application platform in the entire cryptocurrency market right now. After that occurred, though, Ethereum dropped and had a major rally and went into a symmetrical triangle pattern, as you can see right here. We broke bearish out of it, and that's not a bad thing because we want to see Ethereum healthy so that it can continue to rally to the upside. That's why I said this correction right here was not a bad thing. It was a macro movement to the downside that allowed for an even larger movement to the upside. Ethereum right now is trading at $3,800, and we will be coming back to it in a little bit more detail a little bit later. But Kelly, can you tell us a little bit about some of the biggest things that happened to Ethereum this year? And do you think Ethereum would be able to repeat next year what it's done this year?
Well, not only... I'm muted. There we go. Not only do I think it's going to... Actually, I'll say this. I don't think it's going to repeat what it did this year. I think it's going to be more explosive. Oh, wow. And the reason I say it, and I think this will blend into kind of some of the content we're going to be going over later when we bring up the adoption curve and those sort of metrics. When we're still so early in the entire ecosystem of crypto in this asset class, and also the number of people that are adopting and using it. But I think one of the most important things that happened on Ethereum this year was EIP 1559 And then now, in addition to that, a lot of people locking up in preparation for the ETH2 rollout, which should be coming sometime in the next 2 or 3 months or so. But there's just been an incredible adoption and development. The level of development on top of layer 1, including all the different layer 2s, and just the integration with these services. Also, when you have the other chains like Kusama and Dot and Cosmos and Icon, all these different integrative blockchains, it's making the ecosystem a lot more robust and a little bit, I don't want to say agnostic between chains, but Ethereum, there's just so much, it's just an unstoppable train, and I'm just bullish as I can be.
Yeah,
I can't even contain how bullish I am, so I'm just excited going.
Yeah,
into
I mean, should 2022 be the year of ETH going to proof of stake?
Hopefully,
ETH 2.0 actually happens.
Hopefully,
let's see.
If it does,
see if it doesn't.
Here's
get
my
delayed.
prediction: if Ethereum does launch ETH 2.0, I expect it to be worth over $12,000 within 6 months of that being launched. That's what I think will happen, assuming Bitcoin doesn't drive us into a giant bear market. But if that occurs in, say, February, I think by August you will see a $12,000 Ethereum. So that kind of answers a question that I was going to ask and answer here in about 10 minutes. Is it too late to get into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency? No, I do not think it's too late at all. Have you missed the 1,600% rally that I'm about to show you on Binance? Yes, but that doesn't mean that there's not still gains to be made here. I do think that we are going to have a very, very, very profitable 2022, and we're going to talk about how that you might find those profits here in a little bit. But let's take a look at Binance Coin, guys. Binance is one that we haven't covered that much on the channel, but you know, the funny thing is, it is ranked number 3 on CoinMarketCap. It's sitting right here at $87 billion. And say what you will about it being centralized, decentralized. You guys know that I have my qualms with Binance Coin. But the two things that you can't argue with is that the smart chain has a lot of adoption, and Binance is the largest exchange in cryptocurrency. And those two things are driving a massive increase in the valuation of this cryptocurrency. And we can see that here on the chart. Taking a look at just just at the first 3 months here on Binance of the year. At the beginning of this year, Binance was trading at $40. I remember back when Binance would trade between $5 and $40. Even going back when I started getting it, I've been in crypto longer than Binance has, at least as long as Binance has been relevant. I remember when it would trade at $20 and $30 and $40. And by the way, this might not look like a massive rally because I'm on the log chart. Let me turn the log chart off. Oh yeah, it was a giant rally. This was like an XRP style rally at the end of 2022, except we stayed up here. That's what Binance was able to do. Absolutely remarkable, and it shows the adoption in this space. But taking a look at this year, we saw at the beginning of this year, Binance Coin was trading at roughly $40, give or take a little bit. And then within 120 days, it would rally 1,600% from $40 to $800 nearly, completely and utterly smashing the competition, jumping straight up to number 3, and it has stayed there ever since. Over the last 8-9 months, it has entered a massive symmetrical triangle pattern. And as we've seen in Ethereum's past, which I will show you right here, symmetrical triangle patterns that show up on the weekly chart typically do end up breaking to the upside if there is the ability for the market capitalization to run that far. Now, I'm not saying that Binance Coin is going to quadruple breaking bullish out of this symmetrical triangle pattern, but to be honest with you, I do think it probably will move to the upside, because if we see anything next year like what we saw this year, Binance Coin I could easily see being worth $250 billion. It's currently worth $90 billion, but Binance, if it manages to stay top dog, which there is reason to believe that it might not, it's getting slammed with KYC from different governments. It's being hit by the Canadian government, the Thai government, the UK government. There's been a lot of governments coming after Binance this year. But if it does manage to stay number 1 and it remembers that decentralization is the gate and key to being successful in crypto, then I think Binance Coin is going to do very well, and you're going to see a pretty solid breakout moving into the new year. And is $1,000 Binance Coin possible? I think it's possible. Is it likely in the next 3 to 4 months? Maybe not. It might take longer than that. It might not even be next year. But if Binance remains the largest exchange, then I think that will invariably happen. So let's go ahead and move on here to Solana. This was a big gainer this year. And funnily enough, we're looking at Solana on Binance Exchange. So that kind of goes to show you just how successful Binance is. Solana is currently trading at $175. But if we zoom back in time here, at the beginning of the year, it was trading at $1.30. We rallied 20,000% in 300 days. That's a cryptocurrency right there. That is a cryptocurrency that exploded onto the scene the same way a lot of these other projects did as well. And you guys know I have my concerns about Solana and its centralization, but one thing you can't say about Solana is you can't say it's slow. You cannot say that it's slow. It might not be the most reliable blockchain in the history of mankind. We've had a DDoS attack on it. We've seen people try and flood the network. We've seen different issues coming out of Solana, but we've also seen a very rapid growth in layer 2 projects being built on top of it. It has gone from a very small pool earlier this year to a pool that is trying to compete with Ethereum. There is a lot being built on top of Solana, and as much as we harp on the ethos of decentralization, the thing you have to realize is most people don't care about the ideology of the cypherpunks that started this space, which is sad, but it's true. They will use and adopt Solana even though it's centralized, even though that may be leading the industry in the wrong place, but we can't deny that that will happen. What would Solana do next year, though? I think Solana is going to continue competing with Ethereum, even though the creators of Solana said that's not their intention. It is going to do so, and it is going to continue trying to take market capitalization away from Ethereum. I don't think it will be successful, though, because I don't think it'll be successful in flipping Ethereum or anything like that, because I do think that Ethereum is going to manage to launch ETH 2.0, move to proof of stake, and then these gas fees that are the main thing holding Ethereum back are going to stop being a concern. Ethereum's going to moonshot to $1 trillion and leave Solana in the dust. And by the way, I very much hope that happens. If there's a Ethereum versus Solana debate, I'm on team Ethereum, because even though Ethereum has a couple centralization issues that you have to be concerned with rollbacks a few years back and things like that, Ethereum is a far more decentralized network, and for that reason, I very much hope that it wins out on this exchange war, search engine war, the phone war. There's all these wars whenever you start a new technological industry. You have which company is going to have the first smartphone come to market, and which one's going to win that, which one's going to win the search engine, which one's going to win, e-commerce. Amazon won that one. Which one's going to win decentralized application protocol? I very much hope it's Ethereum, because that's going to set up the next 100 years to be a decentralized century rather than a centralized one, at least in my opinion. So I think the precedent is very important there. Kelly, do you have any thoughts on Solana? What do you think about its outlook in the new year? Because obviously it's the new kid on the block. It's rallied 20,000% this year. Do you think it's going to be able to really put up a fight against Ethereum after Ethereum comes out with ETH 2.0?
Absolutely. I think one of the number one things to consider when you're looking at a project like Solana, and really when you're looking at any project, is what's the team behind it? What's the money involved? What's the investment involved? And they have such Solana is to FTX as Binance Coin is to Binance, so they're not 100% as directly related, but it's the same money behind them in terms of Solana to FTX. And you have Sam Bankman-Fried, one of the largest, most influential voices in crypto, who's just developing so much, and they have so much development going on with it. And I do think I am a little bit resistant to the fact that it has come across as quite centralized. But I do, looking at the roadmap of what they're doing and what they're building, I do know that they're trying to divest themselves from that as they spread out their network and their nodes and all that sort of stuff. But I'm just excited to see and this goes for all coins. I mean, you could ask me about any coin and I would say this. I'm just excited to see how all this development pans out, and the sorts of projects and the headway that we make down the road in 2022, because so many projects, Solana included, have had just months and months of work and thousands of developers working on all these different projects. And there's so many things that are just bound to be released in the next 4 to 8 months. It's going to be really exciting to see how that also affects the bull and bear markets and the lengthening cycles and all that sort of stuff. So I'm just all bulls from here, man.
Yeah, I think what's important to even know about that is, on this show and a lot of people watching on YouTube, they're really into the decentralized aspect. That's not the mass appeal, though, necessarily. Even, we are flooded right now with TV shows and YouTube channels with advertisements of pretty much saying, hey, if you're not sure what to do, let us invest for you. They're even talking about crypto. Like, hey, let us invest in your crypto for you. All these different things happening that are actually keeping people from being involved. Right now, the large sentiment is not, hey, is this decentralized or not? The sentiment is, can I make money? And centralized things like Binance and Solana can make you money. And if you can make money, people are going to go into it. So like what Kelly was saying, technology is a real big thing right now. I think what we're really excited about, and I think a lot of people that watch this show are excited about, is the projects that are decentralized, because it goes deeper into the sense of, man, we have been in a centralized currency system economically for so long now. We see the havoc it wreaks. We're just excited about the idea of taking that power away from one entity and spreading it out. But just because I don't think anyone should ever look at a centralized project and say, oh, it's centralized, that's not going to do well. Because
sure,
no, actually, if the technology's there, And
they'll
the
probably
money's
do.
there.
They'll actually probably do better in the short term. Take a look at Crypto.com and Binance Coin for an example of that.
Yep.
And I will say, I don't think the last thing that you asked, I didn't fully answer, and that's I do not think that Solana is going to flip Ethereum.
Yeah.
And Tim and I were watching a video earlier with Raul Paul, all these questions about what's going to flip this or that. It's a little bit irrelevant. At the end of the day, you pick your bets based on the research that you do and the projects that are behind them. And you don't compare Bitcoin to Ethereum because they're entirely different projects. Raul Paul is like saying it's like debating versus the value of gold versus the value of all the entire cell phone networks in the world. It's two completely different things that you would bet on. So don't look at it that way. Just look at the projects, do your TA, and see what's coming out in development, where the developers
and you don't compare cell phones to vehicles. Like we put them all into one boat because they're all on coin. We look at CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko or something, and we're like, oh, these are all the cryptocurrencies. In reality, Bitcoin is a store of value. Ethereum is a technology for
infrastructure.
Infrastructure stuff. Then you have the other things that they're going after. Security. And it's just like we're seeing crypto diversify into different business concepts.
And that's why in the last 18 months, I'm gonna say this, and we're gonna look at Cardano and read some super chats here. Yeah. And by the way, smash that like button. We've only got 400 likes. I know we can get to 800 likes here in the next couple of minutes. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hopefully you are enjoying today's show. Here's the final thing I'll say on that. About 2 years ago, I stopped calling cryptocurrency an industry and I started calling it a sector. And the reason is a sector is an industry of industries. There are many different industries in cryptocurrency now. There are store of value currencies like Bitcoin and Kadena, and Monero is trying to be one. It's a privacy coin. There's also the privacy coin space. There's also the decentralized application space. There's also the metaverse space. All of these things are industries in their own right, and they need to be compared to each other. It's okay to compare a sandbox to a decentralized and a mana and all these things, and it's okay to compare Gala to another blockchain gaming platform. But the thing you don't want to do is you don't want to compare apples to oranges. You only want to compare apples to apples. So they're absolutely right. The fun thing is, though, Solana, AVAX, Binance, ADA, a lot of those decentralized application protocols are in a very similar ecosystem. They're not exactly the same. Ethereum didn't set out to do DID, decentralized identification, like ADA did, but they are a little bit similar. But you do want to be careful about comparing Bitcoin to Ethereum because they're really just not the same thing.
I think T Shroom's got something to share.
Sure.
Yeah, on the very first stream that I ever came on Crypto Jebb, Tim asked me a question, and I essentially answered with the following, which was, what I really want to see in crypto is these different projects to distinguish the value that they're bringing to the market.
Yeah.
In a way that the stock market, it's a given that what Chevy does, what ExxonMobil does. But what's difficult about crypto is people don't understand crypto.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
At the functional level, at a currency level, or at the computational level. It's a very small percentage of human beings that really get it.
That's right.
So it's hard to say, oh yeah, MATIC does this, and Solana does this, and that's different from mana. So the people that can understand how they're differentiated, they're going to win for
Absolutely.
sure. No, that's what I was kind of saying. Like people see almost every cryptocurrency as a store of value, and that's just not it.
That's not the case. Yeah.
And then the other thing too,
This
is a good point to remember. And one of the things I pride this Crypto Jebb community on is it's incredibly positive and supportive. We get the random troll here or there that's just absolutely negative, but our community themselves kind of harp in on that, and they bring people in. But my point being here is, we don't need to be negative about somebody being in a project that we're not into or we don't like. There's no need to hate on somebody because
unless it's Dogecoin,
even whatever it is, all these things, they're not competing. We have MasterCard, we have Visa, we have Amex, we have all these things that are directly doing essentially the same thing in a broad field that all have various market shares, but they're doing incredibly well. So pick your bets and the things that fall in line with your integral values and what you're interested in, and you're going to do well because you'll be more passionately involved with wanting to follow it.
Absolutely. Well, let's keep it moving here because we got to get back on schedule. We're going to take a quick look at ADA. ADA pulled all the way back down to 2.5 cents during the March drop in 2020, and from there it rallied 11,700% all the way up to $3.16. Ever since then, it has had a relatively large correction, down 63%, is currently in a bounce. Ever since the beginning of this year, when Cardano was trading right around 20 cents, we are currently even on the dip, up 100%. I know a lot of people that got into Cardano back when it was trading below 50 cents. I am not one of them. I wish I was, but I have now accumulated some at around $1.21 and also accumulated some around $1.60. My average entry is around $1.30 something. So I'm about break even on my Cardano right now. I'm thinking about loading up on some more of it because I do think that Cardano is going to go to $10. I don't know if it's going to be next year. I think it will be if the bull market continues. But the fact is, Cardano is a very powerful project, and there's one reason why. I've said this many times on many different shows on several different channels. Cardano is going to be a successful project because Charles Hoskinson, the founder and the leader of the Cardano ecosystem and community, does not care about the price of Cardano. And that shows sometimes when Cardano trades sideways for the last 10 months like it has. It basically looks like a stable coin with a lot of volatility in the year of 2021. But here's the deal. The reason that doesn't matter is because in the last year, Cardano has added so much fundamental value. It has brought about so many major updates, Alonzo being one of them, that we have seen a massive amount of development on this project, and it may be one of the most scientifically backed cryptocurrencies that we've ever built. The amount of scientific research that's gone into building Cardano is absolutely incredible. It's a great project, and when it does fully come online, because it hasn't even gotten started yet, and it's worth, what is it, $45 billion, and I do think it's worth every penny. Once it does fully come online, it is going to absolutely moonshot. That's why I'm invested not only in Cardano, but also on some of its layer 2s that are coming online relatively soon. AVAX is one of those. Not pumping my own bags here. I've told you guys many times that I'm in AVAX, and by the way, I'm down 40% right now because it hasn't fully launched yet, but when it does, I think it's going to do very well. Cardano is going to do well for two reasons. One, it is going to be a strong competitor to Ethereum, Solana, and AVAX and these other projects that are protocols that you build things on top of. And two, I think its layer 2 application space is going to be one of the strongest in the industry within the next 2 years. And for that reason, I do think ADA will stay in the top 10. It might drop down to top 15 for a little bit, but I think it'll jump right back up in there into top 10 if it does. But like I said, guys, it's not fully developed. And by the way, it's not really that far behind the other projects. The other projects just have more marketing. So let's just be clear on that. Solana is a little farther ahead. You might argue AVAX maybe. Some of these projects are maybe farther ahead than Cardano, but they have better marketing teams. That's the difference. Cardano has the best technology, in my opinion. Some of the best technology, you might say. Maybe not being able to keep up with Ethereum just yet, but I think it will in the next couple of years. And when it does, you will see rewards from it. So I think it's going to be a good year for Cardano. Tim, let me ask you this. Cardano traded sideways ever since February. Now, of course, it jumped between $1 and $3, but it was in a massive range. Do you think we're going to see that market structure break and finally see another continued uptrend on Cardano moving into the end of next year?
You did it sideways since February?
Yeah, it's basically been trading sideways since Valentine's Day, around $1 to $3.
It's exploded and come down and exploded.
Yeah, exactly.
We talked about this before. You know, depending on where you are, Cardano is either the greatest project in the entire world this year, or it's the worst and it's dying and it's no good for anything anymore. You know, as a whole, I see.
It's kind of a glass half full, glass half empty. It's like, is Cardano setting up for a bull market, or is Cardano dying? Like, you know, that's the crypto equivalent.
It's just crazy because, like, yes, it's been moving sideways since February, but that is some volatile sideways movement.
It's true.
I do think that Cardano is going to explode because, again, the explosion we had earlier this year and the whole growth that we've seen in Cardano is due to the hype of the excitement of the announcements. When the technology actually comes, echoing what you just said, I do believe that not only is the technology that Cardano is bringing to the table top notch, the mission of that entire team. You know, some people look at what they're doing with the continent of Africa as a downside, like, oh, I'll do that. I'm like, no, that screams mission and a massive why they do things. And anyone who understands why businesses are successful, you understand that businesses that are successful have a powerful why. And that's what Cardano's doing.
And also, I got to mention the continent of Africa thing. People don't realize that by 2050, the continent of Africa will probably be the richest continent on the planet. You might think that's only 30 years away, Jebb. How would that happen? Where was China 30 years ago? And now they're ranked number 2 GDP-wise. Now, I think they're in a massive bubble and it's going to pop and it's going to cause a global financial crisis in the next 10 years. But they grew a lot. And the reason they did is because when an economy transitions from a developing economy to a developed economy, it will normally increase its GDP by 500 to 1,000%. And you're about to see the largest continent on the planet by land area, I do believe, also become the largest continent on the planet by population by the 2050s, 60s, and 70s. And you're going to see a massive amount of development. Africa is developing very, very quickly. The whole, you know, very unkind joke of like, oh, you could have given that food to a kid in Africa. I mean, I don't think that's a funny joke, but you know that's the joke. Everybody jokes about poverty in Africa. That's actually coming to an end relatively quickly. There's a lot of stability coming into Africa, praise God. There's a lot of great things that are happening on that continent. And by the way, Cardano is the only cryptocurrency project that in a big way is investing in that continent. So as Africa grows into probably I would say by 2050, a $50 trillion continent, Cardano is going to have its teeth in every single government there because it's going to be helping the infrastructure in every single government and society there. And when it does that, Cardano, if it remains top dog and really does help the continent of Africa the way that they say that they're going to, that will make Cardano worth trillions of dollars in the next 30 years.
I've got a comment about that too. You know, one of the things that's really interesting when you think about it is the massive growth that a lot of these projects have had in the last few years. And one of the interesting things that's happening with Cardano has been absolutely parabolic in growing the size of their community, while the rollout of all these things that are developing, and now that their chain is basically on the full ready to launch here in the next month or so, where all these different applications are going to be launching, you know, Cardax, Sunday Swap, Cody, Charlie 3, ADAX, all these things are coming online. And not only that, we have a larger crypto community, but the community within ADA itself, within Cardano itself, is so large that it's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out in terms of price action, not only on every one of these projects, but also on Cardano itself, because it's like the community is already so strong. It's going to be an explosive year, I think, in the next. Sorry, I'm sorry, Kelly. No, go ahead.
You said in the next 6 months. Yeah, to comment on Cardano, I think Cardano is I've never seen anyone draw this comparison, but I would. I think Cardano is in a holding pattern in a similar way that XRP is, contingent on a news story. XRP is in a holding pattern contingent on the SEC finally deciding, okay, we're wasting our time here, which that's the whole point, is to waste XRP's time to show that the SEC has power, which they kind of do, but they really don't know what they're doing. Nevertheless, XRP is in a holding pattern waiting for a massive launch as soon as that SEC lawsuit lets up, and I think we're seeing the same thing on ADA. ADA is one of the largest decentralized application protocols right now that's in the top 10 that doesn't really have anything built on top of it yet that's fully launched and commercially available because it's still being developed. But that's a good thing, because when you build a decentralized network like what Cardano is, if you screw up one thing, it's kind of hard to fix that. You do not want to mess up a $45 billion network. So I'm very glad that Cardano is not rushing the development of its protocol, because I do believe that it's going to be one of the most bug-free, one of the most stable decentralized application protocols that we have ever seen in the history of crypto. With that said, let's go ahead and read some super chats and check in with the community. Then we're only going to do some analysis on Bitcoin to catch back up, because we got a lot to talk about.
Well, I want to start with, obviously today's a slower day. I think a lot of people are getting on, they're celebrating the new year. But there's still 1,700 people in chat, 585 likes. We can grow that. If you're new, if you're just checking in for the first time, welcome. Heavily consider hitting that subscribe button. This is, if you go back and watch, we do this 5 days a week. We want to bring you guys as much as we can topically, but also build in a format that educates you to think for yourself. We want to teach people how to think, not what to think. So if that's something you love, hit the like button, hit subscribe. We have some super chats we're going to read. We have a lot today. So despite the low views, a lot of people wanted to
thank you guys so much,
help donate and be a part of the team. So first one, Mitchell Murray said, Happy New Year, Jebb. Can I get some TA on Kiki Swap protocol? Also, can you wish my wife Kim a quick recovery from, and then, we can't say it, but he even... he cleaned it up, but I'm still going to say we know what he's talking about.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll be praying for her. Kim, is it?
Kim,
we're here for you. We'll be praying for you in Jesus' name.
Yep.
Get better.
As far as TA on Kiki Swap.
We're not going to be able to do that today. We've already got like 12 coins to look at, but maybe we could do that in the new year. We're trying to keep it to coins that like a lot of people want, so we can serve as many people as possible. So maybe, but I can't make any promises there.
Jason Clark said, daily Bitcoin long charts, big drop off when Bitcoin hit 48.5. How do I use Bitcoin long and short charts to my advantage? Much love. I'll see you guys next year.
Well, you use them for market sentiment, because if everybody's long, then that means everybody thinks the market's going to go up. If everybody's short, everybody thinks the market's going to go down. So that gives you an idea of the sentiment. But even more powerful than the long and short charts, I actually think it's more useful to look at the liquidation charts, because whenever there are liquidations happening, that shows you not only where the sentiment is, but it also shows you when a cascading event such as, a liquidation event like a long or a short squeeze happens. So I think they're very important to look at. And in fact, I show the liquidation chart quite a bit here on the channel.
And to add on to that as well, you can look at the level not only just longs and shorts that are out there, but the level of leverage longs and shorts. Because if you're getting a very if you go back and look at the metrics on that on a graph, on a chart, you'll see that when the leverage longs or shorts, either way, get just proportionately way out of whack, that's typically when you'll get a large movement to the opposite direction, doing a long or short squeeze. And it's a great way to proceed it, following that with your divergences and all that sort of stuff.
Yep, absolutely.
Casual Bass Guy said 100x leverage with this. I don't know what this is.
With this, I have no idea, but be careful with 100x leverage, my friend. I think you're joking, but
I'm sure the
careful.
comment was a joke of sorts. Christopher Earl said, Happy New Year's, guys. Thank you for providing great information daily. 2022 is the year of crypto.
You're dang right it is. 2022, by the way, is also going to be the year of blockchain gaming. So watch out for some of these blockchain gaming projects. I'm actually very tempted to go ahead and buy some Gala because I actually do believe, here's a prediction for you, I think a blockchain gaming protocol will be a top 10 project by the end of next year. What do you think about that, Kelly? Am I crazy for saying that?
I absolutely think it will, and I think they're going to be jockeying back and forth. So, and if you go back and look historically, even at the top 10s, we won't have time right now, but if you all do it on CoinMarketCap, but look at the end of the year top 10s, you'll see it's why it's important to diversify your investments, but also to stay in tune with what's going on in the market, because I think right now, in the last 3 years, there's only 2 coins that are still on there that were in the top 10 2-3 years ago. So the market changes dramatically, and I do think there's going to be a lot of metaverse plays and gaming plays that are going to be inching up in the top 20 and the top 15, and probably 1 or 2 in the top 10 in the next year or 2.
Yeah, no, I've said before, I think NFTs will be a $10 trillion industry within the next 10 years, and I think blockchain gaming will maybe not be that valuable, but I could see blockchain gaming being worth $2 to $3 trillion market capitalization here in crypto pretty easily, actually.
Moving on here. Cryptosaurus Rex said, plain and simple, Happy New Year, and thank you for all that the CJ crew has done this year.
Yeah.
Nice work on production today, T-Shroom.
Yeah, good job, T-Shroom. Thank you guys so very much for those donations. We really appreciate it, guys. It helps us out a lot, so thank you guys so very much.
Leon the Dutch said, Hi, Jebb and team. I didn't have a good crypto period. I stepped in November of 2021, and after Bitcoin went down, but I have a good feeling for 2022 thanks to you. Yep. I will follow you in 2022. Thanks for your time.
You want to hear something funny? I've made more money, and I'm not saying this to brag, I'm saying this to set a precedent so that you don't get the wrong expectation. The amount of money I've made in the last 12 months in crypto was drastically more than I made in the first 3.5 years I was here. The point I'm making with that is not to say, oh, look at me, I'm so successful. I never want to do that. I want to remain the most humble crypto YouTuber if possible. I don't think we are that. I want us to continue working that direction. I'm just saying I'm not trying to brag about that. My point here is this, though. It's not all going to come at once. You said you've been in since November, so you've been here for a month. Be excited about that, man. Yeah. If you've made any money, like if you have managed to make one profitable trade so far, count that as a win. Because, like, I'm serious, for real. Like the first, I don't know how many trades I made, lost so much money on them. It was, and by so much, I mean like 80% of $20 or something, because I don't have any money. But the point is, if you were making anything, if you were learning anything, just use this time to learn. You will be just fine. There's so much opportunity here. You're not going to miss the boat. You're going to be okay. And it's also a win if you've had the courage to hold through a dip. And not just sell because that's how the most early adopter or people, when they're just starting, that's how a lot of people get washed out, because they get so scared on a dip, they sell, and then it goes up, then they buy back in, then it dips again, they sell, and then they're like, I can't do this. Just if you miss the trade to get out, just hold. At the end of the day, people that hold in DCA make more money than the average trader anyway. So yeah, no, for real. That's what I've been doing for the last 4 years. 4.5 years I've been in crypto, is just buying and holding. I didn't even sell the tops back in 2017. Never did it. Didn't have to pay any capital gains taxes on those sells because I never sold them, so I still haven't had to do that just yet. So I'm holding a lot of Bitcoin and crypto. Now, if you made trades, then of course you have to report that and everything. We have a link for our CPA down below if you're interested. Let's take a look here at Bitcoin. We're going to do a little bit of short-term TA. I told you guys we will look at some shorter-term analysis because I'm sure you don't just want to know what happened last year. You probably want to know what's going to happen over the weekend. So let's go ahead and look at BTC today. Bitcoin right now is rounding bearish on the MACD. It looks like we might be about to see a little spring and a bounce, so that there may not actually be a cross. You see this happen sometimes. We saw the inverse of it happen right here. It looked like we were going to have a bullish MACD cross, but then we didn't. That may end up happening here on MACD if Bitcoin does manage to remain in a small uptrend. The problem that I'm seeing here, guys, is that even though there is an inverse head and shoulders pattern forming here on the 4-hourly chart, we dropped dramatically from up here around 51.7 down $5,500, and in the same amount of time, Bitcoin has only rallied $2,000. So that indicates to me that the bulls are taking us through a tertiary movement to the upside, but they are still not more powerful than the bears. I do think that we're going to see a rounding bottom here. I do think that Bitcoin is going to rally back up to $60,000 and above in the next month, moving into January. But I do also want to encourage you not to get overly excited. Don't, start getting super pumped until we have seen a little bit more coming out of Bitcoin. Another thing to show you on Bitcoin is the fact that it is in a very long-term ascending triangle pattern. This long-term ascending triangle pattern has a price target well into the 6 figures, so be excited for that. And another thing I can mention is that there's a massive options expiry happening today. Can I throw it over to Kelly real quick? I want him to explain what all that means.
Well, essentially there's a long-term bets that are being placed on futures and different options derivatives about where the price is going to be. And for the one today, it's I think it's
like $6 billion or something.
It's around $6 billion, but it's a culmination of not only the weekly options, but then there's also quarterly options that go as well, and then I think there's also yearly options. So today is quite a big expiry. But in addition to that, if you go, I was trying to get it up before we got to this point so I could get the link up here for Jebb, but I just posted a tweet on my Twitter that shows exactly when the last 2 or 3 options expiries were, and to see what the price action happened afterwards. And the price action after these major quarterly options expiries have been incredibly explosive.
I'll show you the tweet. Check out my chart real quick. This is what Kelly's talking about. He posted this a minute ago. Make sure to go follow him at Kelly Kellum on Twitter. You can see the last quarters that ended, we saw a massive rally. We have seen a quarterly movement on Bitcoin quite a bit. This is Bitcoin over Tether USD. This looks like a very different chart, though. Can you explain what exactly this chart is for the audience here, Kelly? Because this is not the normal Bitcoin chart, of course.
I'm not exactly sure at this moment because I've just pulled this up in a.
You can see it happening right here. The thing is, this looks like the Bitcoin chart, but then it's also not. It's scaled a little bit differently. So I think we're looking at something to do with the options market. But the point is, whenever you see a quarterly options contract, whenever you see these quarterly options contracts expire like that, you normally see a massive movement. That is the same chart. You can see all of the same movements right here. It's just scaled a little bit differently because it's a different market. But the point is, whenever these options expire, generally speaking, it does lead to a major movement in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and it does also help to reset the market to a new higher low. And I think that's what we're seeing a lot of happening over the last month.
And there's one other thing that I wanted to mention because it's incredibly important. Today is also the expiration. If you didn't, I actually found this out the other day. The ongoing China ban stuff has been incredibly persistent throughout the last 4 years. But one of the things that happened, there's some charts that show the level of selling pressure in the Asian market, the US market, and the European market. And right about the December 18th, December 19th, which is, I think, December 21st is when we started the large drop for this dip. That was when the notification was put out for China that they had a certain amount of time, crypto holders, that they had to divest themselves, get rid of crypto by December 31st. So that's also expiring today also. So that could relieve a lot of the sell pressure, in addition to the fiscal year ending and tax harvesting and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of things happening right now that are going to let up in the next 24 hours, literally the next 24 hours, and even more things that are going to let up in the next 7 days that are going to lead to movements to the upside, at least I do believe. But really quickly, I just want to show you a couple more things. We're going to move on here. We're going to briefly look at Ethereum, but we're going to move very quickly through it. There is also a point of control showing up on Bitcoin right here that we're currently above. It's at $47,300. $47,300 is a level you want to be paying attention to, but $42,000 is a level you want to be paying attention to as well. Those are major support levels that Bitcoin wants to hold, and I think Bitcoin will. I do think that we will have a very bullish year. Now, like I said, we're going to move through Ethereum very quickly here. It's very similar to what we talked about yesterday, but for anyone who wasn't here, here's what's going on. Ethereum at the moment is in a falling wedge. We're trying to break bullish out of it, and we're trying to hold this support and our triple bottom here at $3,640. You can see one bottom, two bottom, and a third bottom. If we do manage to hold this, we are going to see Ethereum rally all the way back up above $4,200. If we don't see Ethereum rally above $4,200, then in my opinion, we're still in a downtrend and we'll probably end up going down to $3,200. But taking a look at some of our oscillators here, you can see we're also in a downtrending trading channel on RSI. And if you look down here at the MACD, you can see we crossed bearish on MACD 3 days ago, but now it actually looks like we're curving and moving to the upside. So that is a very big deal as well. If we do see that bullish MACD cross, that would be great. Now, taking a look at market cipher down here, market cipher B on Ethereum, you can also see that we may be a couple of days away from a bullish setup. We want to see momentum converge right here with a green dot. You want to see the money flow move and turn green and start rounding to the upside. And you want to see VWAP cross zero. Not a setup just yet, but it could be in just the next couple of days. So with that said, we're going to move on to some other major movers. I will briefly show you some of the charts on these, but I'm actually more interested in talking about the fundamentals. One that a lot of people have been very excited about this year that we haven't talked a whole lot about is a project called Axie Infinity. Kelly, can you introduce to us what this project is and why it's worth $6 billion right now?
Yeah, Axie Infinity is actually, it's a play-to-earn gaming project, and I honestly think it's one of the major reasons, almost like the gate to eyes and people's concentration being on the gaming space, because when this blew up, it blew up
hard.
I'm talking like it wasn't just like a parabola. It was like here, and then it was like straight green candles, like thousands of %. And that really, and of course there's other projects already currently being built in the background, like Gala and a bunch of the other ones. But when this had such a parabolic and explosive rise, that brought a lot of funding into the space for a lot of these other projects. So that's, and it's just, it was one of the first proof of concepts to show the play to earn,
Yep. And it also took the cake for us for the largest rally here on the chart in a 132-day period. I haven't seen another rally that happened this quickly in a top 30 cryptocurrency, top 50 cryptocurrency. Rallied 5,400% in 134 days. You can take a look at his website over here. The Axie Infinity Battle Collect earned a digital nation. You can see $820,000, the most expensive Axie ever sold. $3.6 billion traded on our in-house marketplace. 2.8 million daily active players. For anybody who is not in the gaming ecosystem, 2.8 million daily active players is a number that only a very, very, very small handful of companies of games in the entire world hold. Most games on Steam, by the way, have maybe 30 to 50,000 active daily players. If they're right about that, 2.8 million, this would make it a top 20 played game in the entire world, if I remember my numbers correctly. League of Legends, for example, has, I think, about 10 million. Grand Theft Auto probably has about 5-6 million. You know, these centralized, old school types of games. Minecraft probably has like 50 million or something crazy. There are not many games that have 3 million daily active players. We're talking, like I said, no more than 2 dozen, I would wager, at least in the English-speaking world. So Axie Infinity has obviously done very well, and I'm very excited for blockchain gaming. I think Axie Infinity, Gala, some of these are going to be some of the best bets for the new year because these projects are going to make a lot of money. Axie Infinity, you might say, has already made a lot of its money, and you might say Gala could be bigger because it's got more. Anyway, the point is blockchain gaming is going to be huge. With that said, let's also take a look at Phantom here. Phantom FTM is one that people are always talking about. It's right after Axie Infinity on CoinMarketCap, sitting at rank number 31, about a $6 billion market capitalization. We can bring it up over here on the chart, and we can see that it has done remarkably well as well. As I've talked about, it is currently in a bump and run formation. We talked about that, I believe, the day before yesterday. At some point this week, we talked about how FTM Phantom is currently in is breaking a downtrending level of resistance. It just back tested it over the last couple of days, and it looks like it is going to bounce and rally. Kelly, can you give the audience a little bit of a rundown on what exactly Phantom is and why it's done so well this year?
Yeah, Phantom is another layer 1 solution. It's they just have incredibly scalable and fast transactions and throughput, and that's it. I mean, there's a lot more that goes into it, but the layer 1s across the board, from Phantom, eGold, AVAX, all these layer 1s, they're just in this space race almost to see who can do the most throughput, have the least downtime, and Phantom's just it's got an incredibly strong community.
Yep. Well, moving on to our next one here, we got another project to talk about, Terra Luna. This project jumped onto the scene this year, leading the charge in something called algorithmic stablecoins. Algorithmic stablecoins, put simply, are just stablecoins that have their supply adjusted automatically through some kind of automated system. For Terra Luna, that is a kind of an arbitrage system that the different people people that are invested in it can use. They can buy and sell so that it maintains the $1 valuation for the stablecoins that are built on top of it. People have said for many years that algorithmic stablecoins are impossible, and it would be very difficult, if not totally impossible, for them to ever be built. And if they were built, they'd be regulated into oblivion. But the funny thing is, Terra Luna is actually setting itself up to be probably one of the most regulation-hardened cryptocurrencies in the cryptocurrency space. It's going to be very, very difficult to regulate a decentralized project like Terra Luna, whereas a centralized system like US dollar Tether, you shut down Tether and you take all their reserves and you confiscate that because you might have forgotten that the US government and every other government is basically just a giant company that has the ability to throw you in jail, and that's why they have the power. They can do that to US dollar Tether. It's very difficult to do that to something like Terra Luna. I think Terra Luna is going to be one of the best investments of the year for a blue chip. I think it is at this point a blue chip. It's worth $32 billion, so you're probably not going to see 1,000% growth on it, but I do think that it is going to do well, and I think it's one of those cryptos that can be the backbone of your portfolio. I'm looking at getting into some of it myself. Now, let's talk about another project that has done very, very well. That would be Avalanche. This is a project that before this year you probably hadn't heard of. Let's go ahead and look at its chart. AVAX over Tether. We can see that Avalanche at the beginning of this year was trading at $3. It has rallied to an all-time high this year of 150, up 5,000%. Avalanche is another layer 1 protocol that you can build decentralized applications on. And one of the big things about AVAX that it does is it splits up different types of transactions. It'll split up the currency transactions. It'll split up smart contracts. It'll split up all of these different types of transactions on the blockchain into their own lanes, if you will, and it helps to speed up the throughput and lower the congestion on the network, allowing it to process more transactions. And it's also a theoretically infinitely scalable blockchain because of the way it's all set up. I'm not going to go into a bunch of detail on it. It is a layer 1 protocol that is doing very, very well, and I do have a decent portion of my portfolio in it. I want to say around 3 to 4%. I haven't checked recently, but I did buy some Avalanche on a dip relatively recently. I actually bought some around $94, $95, something like that, and I do think that Avalanche is going to do very well this year. I wouldn't exactly call it a blue chip just yet because it's got some stiff competition, but I do think it is one of those that's probably going to stay up here in the top 10 or 20. But we're seeing a decentralized application layer 1 protocol war right now, and probably 2 projects are going to be the ones that come out on top, and the rest of them are probably going to go to 0 in the next 5 years. Maybe not 0, but they're probably going to be pushed into a certain niche. Like there's only 2 GPU manufacturers, there's only really 2 CPU manufacturers, and everybody else ended up going off and doing something else. Like you might not have known this, but there are a lot of companies in the last 40 years, as the internet and as personal computers were happening, that led the space that now do something else because that's the only place that they were profitable. IBM was one of the big computer companies that was trying to put computers in every home. They realized that wasn't going to work, and now they work with businesses because that was the niche that they were able to actually fill profitably. I think that's what we're going to see happen with some of these different projects as well. The next one we want to talk about here is MATIC, also known as Polygon. It is a layer 2 protocol that has done exceptionally well this year, and it's got its teeth in just about every single part of layer 2. Can you give us a brief rundown on what Polygon is, Kelly? Because you'll probably be able to articulate a lot better than I can.
Yeah, Polygon, or MATIC, I still don't know why they switched the name.
I know, yeah.
It's a layer 2. You know what it really is? It is something that's needed because Ethereum wasn't built with the same robustness as something like Avalanche and Solana that has the throughput. So you need something like Polygon or MATIC to essentially offload some of the throughput that's happening directly on the Ethereum chain, where it's because it operates on as a ERC20 token on that chain, but it also has it's a lot more scalable, so it's a lot faster throughput, and the gas is a lot cheaper. So you're also seeing in the NFT space, a lot of NFTs are now, people are trying to debate, do I release it on Ethereum for prestige, or do I not want to pay $130 in gas fees for a $100 NFT? Release it on MATIC. So you can do all kind of different stuff.
So could we compare MATIC then to, could we say MATIC is to Ethereum what the Lightning Network is to Bitcoin?
MATIC is, yes, in theory, but
in theory, not in
they're
practice.
Very different. But in terms of the scalability and the quickness and the cheapness of the reduction in fees on the transactions, yes. But in concept, they're actually very different things. But
sure.
In practice, they do operate very similar.
They kind of solve a similar problem.
The thing to watch for this next year, and we hinted at this a little earlier, we just didn't talk about MATIC, is what happens if ETH 2.0 launches? What if it moves to proof of stake? Mm-hmm. What is MATIC's use case at that point? Like I don't know if that means MATIC will die, but a large part of what makes MATIC so special will be kind of canceled out when Ethereum becomes proof of stake. So that this is something, as you're looking over your 2022 investments with MATIC, TA wise, I don't know if Jebb, you mentioned this already, but it looks like we're breaking out of a ascending triangle, which is very bullish. So TA wise, we're bullish.
Ascending, symmetrical. I'd say symmetrical.
It's symmetrical, or it's but either way, one. It's a bullish call. Depends on how you read it. Again, it's a good.
It's on my chart. We can show it.
It's just the fundamentals. Keep that in mind that there's a chance it could go down.
Yeah, and I think it's a little bit like there's a website I used to use called infinitelooper.com whenever I wanted to watch a video like 100 times. Like, people would use it for like campfire or rain or something when they're going to sleep. That website probably became useless overnight as soon as YouTube added the feature to loop a video. So I'm not saying that MATIC's going to go the exact same way because MATIC will probably find a use case, but I am saying that whenever you build a solution to a problem on a layer 1, that the layer 1 then comes in and fixes itself, then what is the use of the layer 2?
Yeah.
I will say, though, I think it's going to be a long time, even with the ETH 2 coming out. I think it's going to be a long time, if ever, that Ethereum's going to have the same level. The level of fees on Polygon is so much incredibly lower than Ethereum that even with the best circumstance with ETH 2, they're not going to have that same fee structure. So it still will be less expensive, and they have a huge community around them. So I do agree with what you're saying, but I do think it's going to be a little more resilient due to those things than
I would agree with that.
Might think.
Yeah. I would definitely agree with that, and it did rally 15,000% in 132 days. Now it takes the cake for the biggest rally in 132 days that we have seen this year. But I also briefly want to show you, finally, last but not least here, Sand and Mana. Those are two major cryptocurrency metaverse projects that people have looked at quite a bit. Sand is sitting at rank number 32. We're looking a lot in the top of the rank 30s right now. It's sitting around 5.6 billion. It is a metaverse project, and we can also look at Mana, also known as Decentraland, also known as a relatively boring game. And it's currently, I said it, I'm sorry, I meant it though. We've had a lot of people in our office walk around and it's like, it's kind of boring in here. By the way, before I even mention this, Tim, you guys, what one of you guys in studio walked around in Decentraland? Who was that?
Well, I think T-Shroom did it.
Was that T-Shroom?
While Smay and I were watching. Okay, Decentraland was not entertaining. Walking through it and our commentary on it was. I wish we would have live streamed it. It was pretty funny.
Decentraland it's not a game yet. There's games that can be built within it, but it's a space.
It's very
a digital
early,
space, and it's the beginnings of something that could be very, very cool.
It's like hanging out in a really nice luxury building, but they haven't fully built it yet. It's still like the A-frame.
There's nothing to do there yet.
Yeah, so I'm not saying it's going to fail. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that it's probably a little bit overinflated, both of these projects, because if you'll remember, Facebook announced that it was changing its branding to Meta on October 28th. What did Mana do? It jumped from 76 cents 500% to $4.50 in 3 days on that news. But here's the deal, guys. Decentraland and Sandbox have nothing to do with Facebook's Meta. And do you really think that Facebook is going to want to utilize a decentralized application? No. Or a decentralized cryptocurrency or network? No, they're not.
Well, they have made use of, they're testing crypto with sending from Guatemala to the U.S. on Snap.
Of course. But my point is that they're not going to build their entire metaverse infrastructure on decentralized protocols. They're going to use decentralized protocols, but at the end of the day, if they can't control it, they're not going to make a profit off of it. Right?
I see.
Am I wrong?
They need to put
if I'm wrong, tell me.
They need to put more mana hours in.
They need to put more man hours in. That's absolutely right. So obviously Facebook has taken an interest in cryptocurrency. They've looked into cryptocurrency earlier than most companies. They worked with the whole Libra Foundation, which was a complete crash and burn like 2.5, 3 years ago, and now it's rebranded and nobody even cares anymore. But the point is that them stepping into Meta does not necessarily mean that these metaverse projects are going to be absolute killers, because they're not the same project. It's like saying, oh my gosh, look, Tesla just made an electric car, and then I'm going to go invest in Ford because Tesla made an electric car. It doesn't matter. They're competitors, actually, in the most cases. So, just be careful about investing in Meta or Sand, because a lot of the hype around them came from Facebook's rebrand to Metaverse. And I think that they're a little bit overvalued based on their current level of development. Now, that might change, but at the moment, that's how I see that. But now, let's go ahead and jump into some of our biggest news stories. I'm going to read some headlines here. I'll ask a couple questions. First one, we briefly tickled $3 trillion in market capitalization. I don't know if we actually got quite there. I think we were like $2.95 trillion or something. We got extremely close. You can see right here that we got up to $2.9 trillion. That was not that long ago, guys. A lot of people are concerned, saying like, oh my gosh, Jebb, Bitcoin's in a a correction. What do we do? Well, Bitcoin hit $2,968 billion a month and a half ago. So we hit an all-time high on market capitalization 47 days ago, which 11/10 was a very special day for me, and it was a very special day for cryptocurrency. It hit nearly $3 trillion for the first time in history. That is a big deal. And a lot of the things that drove that, we're going to talk about right now. Miami Coin announced Miami Coin. Now, this was one of the biggest stories of the year, because what Francis Suarez, the mayor of Miami, is attempting to do is he's trying to turn Miami into what New York is for traditional finance. He's trying to turn Miami into that for cryptocurrency finance. He wants Miami to be the hub of the world for cryptocurrency innovation and adoption. And if he does that, by the way, Miami will probably jump into the top 5 largest GDP cities in the entire nation, if it's not even already there. It would bring so much money to that city. It'd be so good for the city, and it'd be very good for cryptocurrency as well. I'd like for the hub of cryptocurrency innovation to be in America, absolutely. When it announced Miami Coin, that was a very big step towards adoption, similarly to what we saw with El Salvador, which that's what I'll mention next. El Salvador also officially adopted Bitcoin. There's a lot of concern about how it happened. It was forced on them, and a lot of people say that Nayib Bukele is a dictator. I'm not going to weigh in on El Salvadoran politics because I'm not El Salvadoran. The only thing that I can say from what I do know is that them adopting Bitcoin was a major step forward in the innovation curve of Bitcoin, which we're going to get to in just a second. We also saw Coinbase IPO'd. It IPO'd as one of the largest IPOs in history, and it dropped relatively hard right out the gate because there was a lot of hype around the actual price that it would be listed at. But when it IPO'd, Bitcoin went into a major downtrend, but then Bitcoin would recover, and Coinbase going IPO set a massive precedent. So let me just back this up. Let me just go over why those 3 things are important. One, we saw an entire city make its own cryptocurrency. That is, I mean, I don't know if I really need to explain how important that is. We saw an entire sovereign nation adopt Bitcoin, which, as Naomi Brockwell said on her show yesterday, El Salvador didn't have its own money printer because it was dollarized in, I think, 2002, so it didn't have any reason not to go to Bitcoin. So those are 2 major stories. And then we also saw one of the largest private companies in cryptocurrency become the largest public company in cryptocurrency, worth, I want to say, about $250 billion. I want to say they're worth about, yeah, I think Coinbase is worth around $200 to $250 billion right now. That's a very big deal. Brian Armstrong is a man you need to be paying attention to in the new year. Another one to look at, Elon Musk stepped into the cryptocurrency space. Tesla bought $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. He has also confirmed that I do believe he's also confirmed that SpaceX has bought Bitcoin and that they're holding Bitcoin as a private company. And I believe he's also said that he holds Bitcoin. Elon Musk, I wanted to say this yesterday on Naomi Brockwell's show. By the way, make sure to go follow her on Twitter. She's about to hit 50K followers, I'm sorry. Let's see if we can do that by the new year. Something she said that was really funny is that Elon Musk is like the funniest person in the world because he's always going back and forth and, just saying up yours or the status quo. The thing I wanted to say about Elon Musk that I didn't get to is that Elon Musk has already won at life, so what does he care? Like, he's already the richest man on the planet. He's already built one of the most successful tech companies in the entire history of the world. What else is he going to do other than troll people with Dogecoin and Bitcoin? I think it's actually really, really funny. The SEC doesn't, and they're probably going to get on his case next year if he keeps it up. But at the end of the day, Elon Musk is a very funny person. And overall, I'm not sure if he's a good or a bad influence for crypto, but he's definitely brought awareness, and that is a good thing. Another story that we've looked at is that China has banned Bitcoin for the 17 billionth time, this time probably for final. People aren't supposed to be holding Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies anymore. They banned mining. That dropped the hash rate in half. Several things came out of that. Number one, Bitcoin is no longer threatened by China. To be honest with you, 8 months ago, before they banned Bitcoin mining, China was probably the biggest threat to the Bitcoin network that there was because 60% of mining was going on in China. A lot of people talked about that quite a bit. I think it was a little overblown. I don't think China wanted to utilize that, but they theoretically did have the ability to go and confiscate every single one of those miners, build the largest mining pool on the entire planet, and try and manipulate the blocks on Bitcoin. That can't happen now because they banned it and sent them all overseas, and now we're more decentralized than ever. A lot of those miners went to places like Kazakhstan and other places in Southeast Asia. Many of them went to North America and Canada, the United States, and Mexico. So the Bitcoin network is more decentralized than ever and has bounced right back. We were sitting at 180, I think it's exahashes before they did that, and we're sitting at 179 right now. So we're right back where we started 6 months on. Proved the stability of the Bitcoin network, made the Bitcoin network more decentralized and more secure, and it also removed any leverage that China had over Bitcoin. So that is not a good thing for the Chinese people, but it is a good thing for the Bitcoin network. And two of the final things that I will say here, FTX and Crypto.com, I'll put these 2 stories together. FTX bought a multi-year sponsorship of the Miami arena Arena, and Crypto.com signed, I believe it was a 20-year, $1.5 billion deal to rename the Los Angeles Staples Center to the Crypto.com Arena. That is one of the biggest brand awareness campaigns that we have seen in the history of cryptocurrency, and that is going to be a very big deal for Crypto.com, and I think Crypto.com is going to be one of those blue chip stocks when and if it goes public. I don't think it's gone public yet, but if it does, it's probably going to do very, very well. Also, one final thing I'll mention, and we'll actually look at an article here on this. NFT volume absolutely exploded this year. If you guys didn't pay attention to NFTs, you would have, then you missed out, because 2021 was really the year of the NFT. We saw $13 billion trading volume in 2021, and you can see from this chart right here, in February and January, there was $100 million worth of NFT volume being traded on all the different platforms. Super Rare, we saw it on Nifty Gateway, and then we also saw it on Super Rare, and then OpenSea came in and took in all the volume. But NFTs were being traded earlier this year with around $100 to $200 million of daily volume every single month. Over the last 5 months, we have seen between $2 and $3 billion worth of volume being traded on NFTs. I've told you before, and I'll tell you again, NFTs are going to be a $10 trillion industry by the end of this decade. I do believe that, based on everything that it can be used for, not just for art. I think 98% of the NFT projects out there are going to go to zero. I think most of them are going to be totally useless. CryptoPunks and Bored Apes are probably going to remain blue chip NFTs for the foreseeable future. They're going to end up going for millions one day if NFTs are around in the current form, in the same way that a Leonardo da Vinci painting or a Michelangelo painting or a sculpture or something would go for a lot of money nowadays, because they're one of the originals, they're one of the Renaissances. I think we're going to see that happening on NFTs, but the vast majority of NFTs are going to go to zero. But again, NFTs have a lot more applications than just artwork. Now, let's also look at a couple of other metrics here, guys. This is really interesting. Number of new Bitcoin addresses, average daily new Bitcoin addresses per month. In January, every single day, the average number of new addresses in January was 500,000. There were 500,000 new addresses on average, 550,000 new addresses on average coming into the market every single day on Bitcoin. That's absolutely crazy. If we scroll down here, you can see that in January of 2021, there were 17 million new addresses alone. That's an average of 551,000 new addresses a day. Now, that dropped down here in May and June, obviously, down to a measly 13 million and a measly 11 million, only 370,000 new addresses every single day. The point is, the cryptocurrency market is growing exceptionally fast. And if we look over here, we can see Bitcoin, the million new addresses that could change everything. We can look at some of this on-chain data right here. This actually shows the number of Bitcoin non-zero addresses over the last year and a half, starting in June of 2020. We saw that there were 30 million non-zero addresses in Bitcoin in June of 2020. That is now sitting at 40 million nearly. We have seen a 25% increase in the number of Bitcoin addresses with a non-zero balance in the last 2 years. And by the way, I expect that would have been a lot higher, except the vast majority of people that buy cryptocurrency are buying them on exchanges, which means that 10,000 people might share one address because of a centralized exchange like Coinbase or Binance. That doesn't, even despite that, we've seen this number grow by 25%, 10 million new non-zero addresses. That represents a massive influx of new faces into the ecosystem. And finally, last but not least, there's one thing I want to point out over here, and it is on Kelly's Twitter. Go to full screen real quick, T-Shrimp, so that I can pull this up. I need to grab his Twitter real quick here, because there's a very, very interesting thing that I want to show you. And I believe it's this right here. Nope, not that one. Give me a second. That is what I'm looking for right here. So adoption curves. Let's go ahead and take a look at adoption curves. This is the last on-chain metric that I'm going to look at, and this is a great on-chain, not on-chain, this is a great graph to look at for the end of the year. You guys have heard me talk about innovative stage and early adoptive stage and inflection points and S-curves of adoption and the historical development of things like railroad, planes, trains, microphones, cameras, personal computers, smartphones, indoor plumbing, electricity, telephone lines, all of these different things, how they all go through an S-curve of adoption. Well, let's take a look at Bitcoin's S-curve of adoption. First, let me give you an example of what the S-curve of adoption looks like. It looks something like this. Innovators are the first 2.5%. Those are the people that are crazy enough to try something even though it's risky and it might not even bring them any value. My brother was an innovator in the 3D printer space, 3D printing space. You probably heard of 3D printers, but 7 years ago, I can bet you just about anything that you probably didn't. My brother has been working with 3D printers for 7 years. He's an electrical and mechanical engineer. He was in the innovator stage of 3D printers compared to where it would eventually go. Now 3D printing is in the early adoptive stage. Bitcoin right now, I think, is in the latter part of the innovator stage, and that means that we have not even begun begun the parabolic run-up that we will. At some point in the next 2 to 3 years, Bitcoin will hit an inflection point. 1 in every 7 people will be using Bitcoin on the daily basis, and then it's going to go absolutely parabolic in the same way that happened with smartphones, in the same way that happened with personal computers and with tablets and with just any technology you can think of. Now let's look at where Bitcoin is right now on its curve. As far as global users, you can see that there are 2 different curves here. There is total global internet users in millions from 1992 to 2006, and then you can see the total number of crypto users in millions, and you can see the average growth rate. Crypto is fast on track to hitting 1 billion users, and if we look at where crypto is right now, it is in a very similar position that the internet was in late of 1996. It has grown remarkably quickly, and based on this chart, it actually looks like it's growing a little bit faster than the internet as far as percentage and logarithmic growth. And the reason I would say for that is because it has the internet to spread information, which the internet obviously didn't have the internet to do. It had to spread its information through mainstream media and television and newspapers and all of that, and then it replaced all of them, by the way. Blockchain is going to do the same thing. So what's the point here? 2021 has been the best year in the history of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. It has brought about literally trillions of dollars of investment, and it's going to bring trillions more in the coming year. And if you have paid attention at all this year and you haven't been living under a rock, you see why that is going to happen. So Kelly, I want to throw it to you because you're the one that posted this tweet. Do you agree with the idea that Bitcoin is following the same S-curve that the internet did? And if so, what does the next 10 years look like for Bitcoin? Because 1997 to 2007, you lived through it. I'm not young. I'm not old enough to remember that. What did that look like in the internet, and is it going to look the same in crypto?
Well, first thing is, I don't think it's following the internet adoption curve at all. I think we're creating our own curve.
Sure.
That's what's so exciting about it. And in terms of the internet, what that looks like, you know, I was born in '84. And I'm 37, and I'm one of the rare people at my age that I had a computer in my house since the day I was born, because my dad was really into technology and computers. And before the internet became a thing with like AOL and all these, you know, these sort of user-based friendly internet services, he had these things called BBSs, which are bulletin board services, which was the predecessor to the internet. So I've been involved with the internet since, I mean, the first company I started, I was 12. I started a website design company in 1997. And so to see the slow pace of adoption, not of just the internet, but just, I mean, I remember even watching on Good Morning America when Al Roker, they were trying to announce that people could email them at this thing, and they didn't even understand that, you know, and it took people a while to get used to integrating our lives, essentially the first level of the metaverse, which is having your life split between the internet and your physical reality life. And it took quite a while for people to get used to that, all the way up until I would say about 2005 when MySpace hit. That was the real start of the explosion of
social media.
Just true comfort with integrative, you know, being integrated with the internet technology across mass populace. And now I'm seeing not only is the growth rate faster for crypto and Bitcoin and all this whole niche compared to the internet, but you know, things happen in a parabolic curve on multiple levels. Not only is the growth happening faster, but people's acclimation to it and integration with it is happening faster. And also because we're having more and more institutional players, and whether it be Bitcoin ATMs or, you know, PayPal availability to buy crypto or Venmo, all these things, you have a quicker way because of the internet. You now have an exponentially quicker way to disseminate this information and make it become more regularized. So I think that we have seen, this has been explosive so far in the last 10 years for Bitcoin, but the scary thing is it's hard to comprehend how much faster things are going to go once it scales up. Now, the volatility might slow down, but the explosion in the number of people that are coming into market, and then also the projects that are developing throughout the entire broader ecosystem, I don't think we've seen anything yet. You know, so when you're taking these fib extensions from the top of the last bull run to the bottom of this bear market, and you see these 1.618, 2.618 all the way up, and now it looks like it's crazy to think that the next 3.618 where we could hit, it very well could be 400, 600,000, 1 million. And it seems crazy now, but when we have this exponential number of people coming in and involvement, there's no stopping it.
Yeah, you know what's funny? If I had told you 2 years ago that you would have a Miami coin in 2021, if I told you that Coinbase would go IPO and be worth $250 billion, if I told you Elon Musk and Tesla would adopt Bitcoin, if I told you El Salvador, a sovereign nation, would adopt Bitcoin, if I told you Crypto.com would sign a $1.5 billion deal to rename the Staples Center to the Crypto.com Arena, if I told you any of these things 2 years ago on the channel, I would have been called a moon boy. And in fact, I was called a moon boy because I told people Bitcoin's probably going to $50,000 in the next 2 years, and people said, you are out of your damn mind, Jebb. And guess what happened? It did. And it is going to do the same thing in the next 2-3 years. We might go through a 1 year long bear market. We might go through a 2 year long bear market. But here's the deal. It is going to be very successful. The writing is on the wall. And as I've said many times, fads don't last 13 years, guys. If you were around 13 years ago, I don't remember it very well. You had Heelys. You had bell-bottom jeans. Am I going too far? Is that too far back?
Yes,
no, I'm joking. Of course. I'm joking, of course. That's like 500 years back. That was when my dad was born. That's so far back. No, I'm joking.
Do you remember Silly Bands?
Silly Band, that's a good one. Tech Decks. Who remembers Tech Decks?
Oh,
Who remembers Bakugan? Who remembers that?
Those were the days.
Yeah, who remembers freaking Bakugan? I have like 20 of those things in some box at my dad's house or somewhere. Fads don't last 13 years, guys, but guess what has? Bitcoin has, and it's increased by 100,000% in those 13 years. 100 million. It's increased by literally infinite percentage points because when it launched, it was worth 0.
Tulips, the original fad.
Tulips, the original fad, yeah. Well, let me go ahead and ask one final question. We'll go around the tables and ask this. I'll start with Tim. Tim, what are the 2 projects you're looking most forward to in the new year? A big project and a small project.
Yeah. So I'm going to classify this one as big. Big would be like top 10.
Yeah.
You define big. I'd say top 10.
I'm gonna say big equals top 10. There's a lot. There's a lot there, but I'm going to go with Cardano.
Yeah, I would too.
Especially after these last couple of months of very bearish action. I think that it's priming up for a massive run with all these test nets coming closer to their ends, with the applications of all the projects actually being utilized. Cardano is super exciting to me. Seems like an easy answer, though. As far as a smaller project that I'm really interested in, I was tempted to say AVAX because I really have been, after listening to even you guys, Jebb and Kelly, talk about it and then listening to other people, it is something I'm really interested in. But you know what I'm going to go with? I'm going to go with just to go on that's dear to my heart because it has to do with sports.
Chili's.
I want to see Chili's. I think Chili's had some great groundwork. I'm telling you guys, listen, I was thinking about this earlier. I'm the only person here in this room, and Smay's not here, but even when he's in the room, I didn't grow up in technology. Just listening to Kelly's story about technology, I don't know computers. I think that's why I get bullied, is because I'm the oddball in the room.
It's part of it.
You know, I do sports. When the sports world gets involved in stuff, it explodes. And I think Chili's is a great project that is working to expand the fan involvement in their team. That they're like, I'm just telling you right now, I'm a diehard Virginia Tech fan, as most of you guys know. If there was a way for me to get even more involved with them, like doing things like this, that would be phenomenal. I don't know if it'll ever go to the college ranks. We'll see. It'll definitely hit all the professional sports before it goes to college. Yep. But I think that concept is massive. And again, sports is one of those things that just, it helps people get away from day-to-day stress. And like it's a thing like you go to work all day, you slave, you do everything you need to do, and then it's like, man, I got to go relax and watch my favorite team play. Don't underestimate when blockchain technology gets into that realm, what it will explode with.
Kelly, what do you think about that question? What's the largest project and what's one large and one small project you think will be extremely successful in the new year?
Well, this is going to sound funny because I don't mean this to sound so alliterative, but the number one project that I'm going to be holding other projects, of course, within my portfolio, but the one that I'm most excited about in this next year, that's a larger cap coin, is AVAX. Because it's just such, you know, we even did a video on it a few months ago. So if anybody wants more info on it, we have a video on the Crypto Jebb channel. But I just find it so competitively designed, and it's hard for other things to compete with what it's offering. And so the smaller coin, I think it's kind of a bit of a tie. And they're both within the Cardano ecosystem. One, of course, is AVAX because I'm just so excited about the launch that they have coming. You know, they've already done the test net. They've already been audited, and their team is phenomenally engaging with the community. And so there's a lot of great things there. You know, also a lot of things people don't realize is with the Cardano when they finish the Plutus application back end and they get that all integrated within the Cardano ecosystem, and their mainnet goes live on AVAX. Cardano has an ERC20 converter, so it's not going to be like SundaeSwap, it's not going to be like Uniswap, where projects are basically limited to the Ethereum ecosystem for the most part. With Cardano and on AVAX and SundaeSwap and Cardax, all these DEXs are coming out. You have the ability to have an ERC20 converter, so you can interoperate within the DEX across chain, which is phenomenal. So those are the two that I'm really, really looking at, and I'm so excited about it, especially going into the first month of this next year where so much is getting launched on Cardano.
I can't agree with you more. I think all of those projects are going to do remarkably well. T-Shroom, what is your answer to the question that you wrote? What is your favorite project that's a large one, and what's your favorite project that's a small one?
Well, for big one, I have to give it up to ADA gang.
ADA gang. Let's see it in chat. Hashtag ADA gang. Let's see the support. Wrap it.
What Charles Hoskinson, I cannot get that name, does.
It's a fun one.
Hoskinson.
I read like this very long blog post he wrote about like this meditation retreat he went on, and the man's going deep. Right. I did some studying in college about like these.
He's like he's a programming philosopher.
I'm just thinking about like the movie. I'm thinking about the movie. Has anybody ever seen the movie Jobs? Has anybody here seen the movie Jobs about Steve Jobs and Apple?
Oh yeah.
You know the scene where he just goes and gets high in a field, like under an oak tree one day. That's what I was thinking of when you said that about Charles Hoskinson.
Kelly, you and Kelly actually took it exactly where I was going.
Okay.
I think that Elon Musk is like the perfect leader for now. Right?
Elon Musk or Charles Hoskinson?
Well, I'm going. Yeah, we're all
He's
on
like,
the same
"Follow me
train
here."
here. Elon Musk is the leader for now, but I think Charles is the leader for like 2050. I
agree with that.
So I studied in college. I studied like these 500-year cycles of the differences between objective and subjective like importance in society, and what societies tend to ordinate themselves around. And I think that the future leaders are going to be like tech yoga instructors type of, and that's just my personal belief.
Probably right.
I have a decent amount of proof to actually back that up. But
you're probably right.
So I'm not going into the technical and like the computational aspect of Cardano, because Kelly just did a pretty dang good job of that. But that's the big one I'm looking at, and just because of the leadership. I think he's a quiet leader, and people are really used to folks like Elon Musk right now, and he's not as quiet at all. And anyway, so that's my thinking on that. Small project. It's a sleeper. HNT. Actually, it's not a sleeper. It's had a huge year this year. HNT, Helium. It's got such an interesting use case.
If they could ever get their miners out to the people,
yeah, for real. If they could actually get their helium miners to ship, that'd be great.
And I actually just got an email from Parlay Labs saying that I will not be receiving my miner, and I will be receiving a refund. Am I discouraged by that? I'm not, and I'm not discouraged by it, because it just means that their anticipated demand was so understated that they I mean, obviously it doesn't look good to not send products to people who ordered it, but they couldn't anticipate that, and I think that just shows that there's a hunger for people to get into Web3 and participate on the ground. And I think that Helium is doing something really unique, because there's not many cryptocurrencies where you send me something and that, there's a physical integration into my actual physical reality where I can interact with the crypto in that way. I'm not saying that they're going to be like the best ever. I just think that that's kind of the small project that I think it's a sleeper, in the sense that it's not talked about, at least on this channel, too much, and I don't hear it talked about too much. As a coin, it's done really well in this year.
T-Shroom's like the anti-Karen.
The anti-Karen.
They didn't give me my product. I'm sure there's a reason.
I'm sure
that they had it.
I'm sure there's a reason.
They're doing their best.
No, sir, I don't need to talk to the manager.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. I'm serious. It's all good. You're the.
Yeah.
Are you from Canada?
Ninrack? You're a Ninrack. That's what you are. You're a backwards Karen. Ninrack.
Oh
I just coined that.
Oh my
Let's get that trending. Ninrack.
Yeah. I don't need to talk to your manager.
I don't need to talk to your manager. I trust you. I think you're doing a good job. You're okay. It's all good.
But what projects are you eyeballing this year?
Well, you guys stole mine, so I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, but then I'll also give you a backup.
Helium was going to be your small?
No, it wasn't.
Chili's.
Nope, not Chili's. My most anticipated project of the year, large cap, is Cardano. But they've already explained why. So my backup, I will say it is a split between Luna and Polkadot, and if I had to pick one, it'd probably be Luna, because I think algorithmic stablecoins are going to be worth a lot of money. Tether's worth $80 billion right now. You know, USD coin's worth $40 billion. Not that that is an apples-to-apples comparison between Luna and its algorithmic stablecoins, but I do think you're going to see a $100 billion Luna valuation if it manages to stay on top of all this, especially if Tether comes under fire and gets audited, or the U.S. government tries to shut stablecoins down. When the government comes big with regulation, they're going to come big for stablecoins. They're going to come big for privacy coins. I've been telling you this about privacy coins since the channel started 4 years ago. I've been telling you this about stablecoins for the last 6 months or so. Luna is going to be one of the ones that I think will survive that, and I think it will be one of the biggest stablecoin projects in existence, because it is more decentralized anyway than something like a USD coin or something like a Tether. As far as the smallest one, I'm going to say, I think it's a split between, I know I'm doing this to you, but here, you get more answers. I think it's a split between Gala and AVAX. I think AVAX is going to have bigger returns, but I think Gala is going to have a bigger... AVAX, yeah. Sorry, ADAX.
Okay,
ADAX. The ADAX exchange built on Cardano. Thank you. They have both those names so close together.
Yes.
Gala is probably going to be one of the leaders in blockchain gaming. They've done extremely well this year, and if they have the kind of adoption that some of these other blockchain gaming platforms have had, they're probably going to be a top 3 gaming protocol, in my opinion, with how much the blockchain gaming ecosystem is going to grow next year. That would probably cause Gala, or maybe one of its competitors, but I think Gala might be the one to do it, to jump into the top 15, top 20. That could bring Gala to a $20, $30 billion market capitalization. And then ADAX, everything Kelly said earlier, I think is absolutely accurate. If Cardano grows as much as I think it will this year, and its layer 2 ecosystem grows as much as I think it will, it's going to need a good DEX, and ADAX looks like it is the one that is going to be leading the charge on that. So shout out to all of those projects. We're very much looking forward to the future. Guys, that's all we got for you. If you enjoyed today's show, smash that like button. We've got 2,000 people watching and about 1,000 likes. That's not bad, but we could get more.
I told them that if they got to 1,000 likes, because I knew the stream was low, that I would take off my hat on the camera.
Whoa, okay.
Which isn't crazy, because I started the year without a hat. I just started wearing a hat, and I'm going to preface this because I want to give people time while I tell the story.
Spicy in here.
If you think, because this is the debate, some people don't care. Some people do, though.
I'm the only one with
Am I bald? Or do I have a head of hair that I have under this hat? So while you guys in chat try to think that on that one, I wear this because it's like makeup. Okay. You don't have to do, you know, that's the other thing for the beard. Like, I love my beard, and there's another thing is, when you have a beard, you don't have to really like worry about too much else going on with your face. You just got to brush your beard real quick. And so
that's why I have a beard.
You know, with that being said, we had 1,000. We have 1.1K likes, which is awesome. Low day today, but I'm gonna show you guys.
Oh my gosh!
It's nothing special.
Oh my gosh!
It is hair.
There is hair there.
It is hair.
He does have hair. He's not bald.
So again, the reason why I wear a hat is because instead of having to worry about if my hair is always
Tim,
looking
you have like
good,
you have like baby hair.
Yeah, it's really thin.
You have like
really
baby
thin.
hair. You look like you were.
As soon as you pulled off your hat, I had him cut the camera to something else, so it was like a trick.
Oh my gosh!
And then it went back.
Oh my gosh!
It's like, here it is.
Oh my gosh! Yes, the screen went black. You know, I have hair. It's rather than having to do anything with my hair, if you put a hat on, you don't gotta worry about your hair whatsoever.
I agree. Hats are the makeup for men.
Hats are the makeup for men. You know what's else the makeup for men? Makeup for men. You know it's a thing, right? It's not. It doesn't make you any less of a man to put makeup on.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Tom Hanks wears makeup.
Every actor wears makeup. I've had to wear makeup for ad shoots before. That's just how that goes, guys. We want to look good for the camera. If you enjoyed today's show, make sure to hit that like button. If we get to 2,000 likes, he'll take his hat off again. So if all of you hit the like button, he might do it a second time for you if you enjoyed it the first time. But guys, make sure to also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We have quadrupled our subscribership this year, and I think we're going to do the same thing again next year, because we're bringing you high quality educational and informational content, because we want to teach you how to think, not what to think. We want to give you the tools and the mindset and the skills and the abilities to go and become financially free in the cryptocurrency space. And I care about that because that's what I managed to do, and I managed to help other people in my life do that, and I want to pass that on, because there were people that poured into me on YouTube when I got started. A lot of them don't do YouTube anymore. A lot of them came out and we found out that they were involved in Ponzi schemes and stuff, but nevertheless, I did learn a lot from the people that were gracious enough to, you know, educate on YouTube and keep their integrity first, because there were some good ones back then. Most of them don't do YouTube anymore. I'm friends with some of them now, actually. And that's what we're trying to do here. We just want to pour into you. We really want to serve you. We really want to help you guys, and we want you to be successful. So if you'll subscribe to the channel, we will do everything that we possibly can to provide you the highest quality educational and informational content that we can every single day, because we want you to achieve financial freedom, because the way that you can live a purpose-driven life is by making sure that you have the finances and the resources that requires. Make sure to follow us on all of our social medias. I'll probably tweet out something at midnight tonight saying Happy New Year, so make sure to go follow me on Twitter. Let's see if we can't get my Twitter to 45K followers by the end of the night. We've got about 900 to go, so it probably won't happen. But also make sure to follow all these gentlemen on Twitter. Kelly Kellum, at Kelly Kellum, Kellylly, Kellam. You'll probably see him in chat. What's up?
Oh,
Just raise your hand.
Raise your hand.
also, I just want to say,
Yeah. Got the HODL trophy. Shout out to, it was JD Park that did that, right?
Yeah.
Was it JD Park that
JD
did
Park.
that? JD Park was the one that did that. Shout out to JD Park. I don't know if he's watching, but thank you so much for the HODL trophy.
there's a huge shout out that needs to happen also.
Yeah.
On behalf of the entire Crypto Jebb team and the entire Crypto Jebb community, big love and appreciation to you, Crypto Jebb, for having the dedication and the love and the heart to sit alone by yourself for 2.5 years, 3, doing this and pulling this together and bringing such an amazing community together, allowing me to be honored to come on board with you. And everything you've done has just been phenomenal. And all of you viewers and friends and family here in chat, we love you all. We appreciate you. And I mean, here's to an incredibly explosive 2022 with everybody.
You'll make me cry here on stream in front of everybody, Kelly. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, also make sure to follow Tim. And by the way, same to you, Kelly. We've been very glad to have you on staff. You've been extremely, extremely invaluable in putting the show together. By the way, in case you guys don't know, this little iPad you see right here and all these notes, you see this? There's like 8 pages of notes here. Kelly and T-Shroom are the ones that put this together every single day. I don't have time to spend 3 hours every morning putting the notes together. They're the ones that do it, so shout out to them and our research team.
The other thing is everyone can say goodbye to that stupid couch that's going to be moving from behind you here very soon. That couch has been with us.
That stupid couch.
That has been
I hate this couch.
A point of conflict in this office, and it'll be gone when we come back on Tuesday.
I like
or Monday. We'll be
I
back
actually
on Monday.
like the couch. Yeah, I think you're in the minority here.
Conflict means there's two sides.
You're in the minority here, Tim.
I'm changing my small project to the couch.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, shout out to everybody, guys. Also, make sure to follow Tim at the
Crypto_beard.
The Crypto_beard. I should probably know this. And then also shout out to T-Shroom. T-Shroom is T-Shroom on Twitter. How do you spell that, T-Shroom?
The right way. T
With letters.
SHROOM.
There you go. Follow all of us on Twitter, man.
Shroom.
T-Shroom. Well, guys, that's all we got for you today. Have a very blessed weekend. Have a very blessed new year, and stay tuned because some awesome content is dropping at 1 p.m. today, and you're not going to want to miss it. Episode 1 of a new series that we're starting called Why Bitcoin. It's going to be the beginning of something great, and you're going to see a lot of that content. I've been teasing some of this content for a year, guys. We've been working on this for a while, so make sure you stay tuned. That's coming out here in about 2 hours. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys after the new year. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.